Marshall is directed by Reginald Hudlin and stars Chadwick Boseman, Josh Gad, Kate Hudson, and Dan Stevens. The story follows attorney Thurgood Marshall, who works for the NAACP and whose job is to defend wrongly convicted African American citizens. When Thurgood is asked to do another case about a black man who was accused of raping a white woman, Thurgood gets another lawyer to help with the case because he relates more to the jury. And these two have to work with each other to help defend this man. So going into this movie, I was not that excited. Looking at the trailer, my original opinion was that it looked kind of boring. I'm not the biggest fan of these types of movies. We've seen so many movies that are retold from historical events that at this point, I'm a little bit tired of them. And the trailer also made Thurgood Marshall seem like a gangster, which is kind of weird because he's certainly the opposite of what that is. So I definitely was not anticipating this movie. But boy, was I wrong. This is definitely one of the most surprising movies of 2017 thus far, and I might just say, this is one of my top 10 favorites of the year already. Marshall is a well-acted, intriguing, very thought-provoking movie directed by a man who doesn't have a history of making theatrical movies, and I think this was a really well-done project. Chadwick Boseman as Thurgood Marshall, he was fantastic. He's definitely one of the strongest characters I've seen in a movie portrayed so far this year. And while he's very stern, he's also a very cool, groovy character. And at the same time, he does kind of have that gangster, badass vibe to him, which I think was a great choice in putting it into the movie. Chadwick Boseman killed it as Thurgood Marshall. I was a little worried about Josh Gad's character going into this movie, but he surprised me as well. He adds comic relief in this movie as well as being very strong and giving a very good performance. I think he should do more roles like this in serious movies, maybe step a little bit away from the comedy genre for once. And Dan Stevens, he played a convincing character that was kind of like an ass in this movie. He was defending a woman who you don't even know if she's telling the truth or not, but he certainly believed that she was telling the truth and he would do anything possible to make sure this black man was convicted wrongly. He was great. And from beginning to end, this movie was emotionally gripping, riveting, and intense. Reginald Hudlin, this guy directed the hell out of this movie. I give so many props for him. The movie itself, from the beginning, it kind of has a jazz-like vibe, but when it's time to get serious, this guy knew how to do that. And this movie gets really good when we get into the deep parts of this court case. I was on the edge of my seat, and I was very entertained by the two sides in the court case going back and forth, asking questions and giving their sides of the story, giving a good case to the jury. I was surprised. By the end of this movie, it reached emotional heights for me that I never thought a movie like this could possibly reach. I'm not gonna lie, I almost teared up in this movie at one point. I never thought that would happen when seeing a movie called Marshall, but that's what happened for me. And going back to how the director used jazz-like melodies to flow with the movie's vibe, I thought it was a great job. What that did for me was that it separated this movie from your typical retelling of a historical event and made it its own. I think we could have used a little bit more of that in the middle of this film, but it didn't really matter that much to me. You know what this movie reminds me of? To Kill a Mockingbird. Very similar, and if you guys like that movie and that book, I'm sure you'll like Marshall. It's also shocking to see that nobody has seen this movie yet. This movie did nothing at the box office. Go out and watch this one. It's a lot better than what we've gotten in the last 2 months. Go check this one out. It's one of the best of the year, I promise you. This movie has excellent performances given throughout. It's emotionally riveting, a very tense movie, and one that I was entertained with, especially in the court case scenes. Those were so well directed and very well written as well. The dialogue here was deep too. It was extremely well written, and that's another reason why this movie was so riveting for me. In the end, Marshall surprised the heck out of me. I never thought I would be saying that this is one of the best movies I've seen all year, but this one is truly a great movie, really well directed, really well acted, and an overall great story. I'm going to give Marshall a 90%. Please go see this one. It has not made anything at the box office yet, so go check it out if you get the chance this week or later on this weekend. I'm sure it will surprise you as well. So later this week, I also plan on seeing The Foreigner starring Jackie Chan. I don't really expect much from that movie, and also next weekend, is Geostorm. That's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for that review. We'll see how it goes. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and follow me on Twitter at SvenSulley and follow me on Snapchat at SvenMovies. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.